Well, everybody, we've got even more information and leaks on the next Nintendo Direct, and this time it's the cause of Xbox. So good morning, Mario, and good morning, Switch fans. An update to our Nintendo Direct knowledge and when this thing is going to take place and what all is going to be there. Spawned by Microsoft and the cataclysmic leak from yesterday that Starfield, Indiana Jones, and maybe more games, including Gears of War and Halo, are coming to PlayStation and other platforms as Microsoft completely changes strategy. That led to today's announcement, which has since spawned even more Nintendo Direct stuff, so I'll get into it in a second. What's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. Hope you're doing fantastic. In the meantime, let's talk all about this. Phil Spencer, in response to the catastrophe that's been going on around Xbox. And I say catastrophe because a lot of people have responded like, oh my gosh, Xbox is dead. Xbox is making a catastrophic mistake. And it's even been suggested that someone who disagrees with the direction Xbox is going internally leaked this to try to get Xbox to change course before it was too late. So a very interesting scenario. But Phil Spencer tweeted a few hours back, "We're listening and we hear you. We've been planning a business update event for next week where we look forward to sharing more details with you about our vision for the future of Xbox. Stay tuned." Now, he does not give a set date. He just says next week. And what's very interesting about this is he says we've been planning. So obviously that could all just be PR spin, but if we're to take him at face value, they've been planning this update. And we know that the whole Hi-Fi Rush saga and Sea of Thieves coming to other platforms, and in particular Switch, has been the talk of the town as of late. And a lot of that Hi-Fi Rush chatter is something we've used to tie to Nintendo Direct rumors. Well, if Phil Spencer has been planning a business update for next week, doesn't it seem like part of that business planning would be to reveal that Hi-Fi Rush is coming to other platforms? In that case, some of the discourse has now shifted to the Nintendo Direct being next week instead of this week. So what's interesting here is that next week does have a Valentine's Day, and next week does have the launch of Mario vs. Donkey Kong. So there are two things next week that kind of seem like it would keep Nintendo away from the week. But if Microsoft has been planning this, to me, there's no way that Hi-Fi Rush comes to Nintendo Switch before Microsoft has their say and tells the public first what's going to be going down, especially now after all that's come up with Starfield, etc. But that's not to say that a Direct can't happen without Hi-Fi Rush, and then Hi-Fi Rush comes later, but it does seem like maybe Hi-Fi Rush and Microsoft's business event are indeed tied to the timing of the Nintendo Direct. Now, Nate the Hate has commented on this. Nate Drake, Direct Feed Games, however you want to call him. Someone said, I thought it was supposed to be this week, and Nate said, people assume this week based on patterns. Some latched onto that pattern to look informed, and it won't end well for them. Now, previously, if you remember, we covered Nate the Hate, Nate Drake, saying that he did not know the timing of the event. So this is interesting because he's seeming pretty confident that he knows it is not this week, saying that it won't end well for them, meaning he's informed. Now, it's possible that between the time we talked about Nate Drake last and now, he has acquired more insider information and knows that the Direct will not be this week, or he just really doesn't think it'll be this week, and so he's saying, hey, people assume this week based on patterns. There's no good intel that says this week, outside of Bill Coon saying they were going to be playing that indie game within 15 days, and Special Nick from Xbox Era saying that there would be a Nintendo Direct this week. Now, we also have this random source, supposedly someone who works in the Brazilian Portuguese department localizing unknown Nintendo titles. They told a member of the Reset Era forums that it was going to be on February 15th. Now, February 15th is next Thursday. Now, that's a very strange date because Valentine's Day is Wednesday. Friday is the launch of Mario vs. Donkey Kong. Thursday is an odd date. Nintendo typically uses Wednesdays, but hey, they've used other days, and we shouldn't get too hung up on the exact day of the week when determining Nintendo Direct. So right now we have two competing ideas that are very much hinged on Hi-Fi Rush, if we're honest. If you believe that Hi-Fi Rush is going to show up at this next Nintendo Direct, then it's got to be next week, because I don't think Microsoft wants that announcement happening before they get out ahead of it. If you don't think Hi-Fi Rush is tied to this Direct, or think it could come in a later date, or maybe isn't even planned as part of the Direct, then the Direct still could continue on this week. We have some saying February 7th, and we have some now saying February 15th. We have some like Nate Drake saying they don't know, but now they know that it's not this week, which I find to be a change of course. Now, there also is the fact that Nintendo has their investor call later tonight/tomorrow in Japan. Nintendo does do their directs after the investors call, so either the 7th or the 15th work for that. It'll be interesting to see what happens though, because we should get good information and insight from the investors call. We always do. And then if Nintendo does announce a direct, it would be happening tomorrow. So we'll pretty much know tomorrow if it is going to be the 7th or next week. And I guess there still is a slight, small chance that there's no direct, but I would put that to bed. With more and more thoughts and rumors and leaks out there, more and more different sources saying different things, it sure seems like there's information out there that there is a presentation. We just don't know when exactly it's going to be. It's interesting to me that people can't really pin down the exact date, because usually they're good about it, especially when we're a week or less away. So I'm surprised that we don't have a specific date as of yet. And Nintendo doesn't typically adjust things. I know we've had some rumors before like, oh, they shifted this direct. But barring some like natural disaster, Nintendo is not shifting their direct. They pick a date and they roll with it. And if Hi-Fi Rush was part of those plans and they've known about Microsoft's business meeting, then it was always next week. This is not a case of Nintendo delaying because Microsoft is getting cold feet or anything of that sort. Nintendo has their date. We just don't know it. I don't know. I felt really good about this week, and I thought it made sense given Valentine's Day next Wednesday and Mario vs. Donkey Kong on Friday. Nintendo typically doesn't like to squish too much in there. And we do know that they are having their Zelda concert and their Splatoon music event at the end of next week. It seemed to line up perfectly that they would go investor call, direct, events, boom. But maybe they are going to elongate it out and go investor call, events, direct, Mario vs. DK the very next day. I still find that to be a bit odd, and I would lean towards this week, but all will be proven tomorrow. Either we'll get a direct announcement or we won't. I suppose it could be a mini, in which case maybe we won't until Wednesday. So I guess we'll have to really wait until Wednesday to know for sure. I'm not going to say one way or the other that it's definitive. It seems very up in the air, and that in particular I find odd, as I mentioned, because typically people like Nate Drake, Jeff Grubb, etc. are much more confident on when it's going to air. And we seem to have two competing parties. Nobody really knows exactly what's going on. Maybe Nintendo's got more secretive. I'm not exactly sure, but I don't feel confident saying, yes, it's going to be this week. Yes, it's going to be next week. I just feel confident saying it's going to happen this month. So that is my current state and take. Direct this month. Could be in the next 2 days. Could be in the next, I guess, 8, 9, 10 days. So stay tuned. I'll let you know if we do hear more. But the Microsoft business update should be interesting regardless. And we should find out there more about Hi-Fi Rush, Sea of Thieves, and maybe other plans going forward and how they involve Nintendo. It'll be interesting to see what language Microsoft uses, if they indeed are going to say multi-platform, if they're going to say bringing them into PlayStation, if they're going to call out Nintendo specifically or not, or if Microsoft actually isn't doing this. Everybody assumes they are because the reports and the leaks have been very vetted, but I suppose there's a chance that Microsoft either A, has never planned this, or B, has changed course based on what they've seen online, although I lean more towards it's going to happen. So we'll cover all of that in due time. In the meantime, though, let me know what you think. Direct in 2 days, direct next week. When will Nintendo unleash the horde for the first half of 2024 and potentially let all the dogs out for the Switch era, as this could be the last direct for this console? Anyways, thanks so much for watching, everybody. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. And until next time, thanks again. SwitchForce out.